So this is a video about Crusaders Quest. It's kind of a summary of how to play and what to expect from the game. I've been on this game for maybe 5 years now. There's a lot to learn. Lots of things have evolved over the years. A lot of things added on and changed, and things been nerfed and buffed and back and forth, and it's kind of complicated to know it all. I am recording this in the beginning of 2019, so things might change by the time you get to this video. But I just kind of wanted to go over the basics of the game and kind of like an intro to what this game is all about. So, as you can see, these are just a short list of the characters that I have so far throughout the 5 years. So there is a lot of different types of characters that you can get. You'll notice that they're like 40 out of 40 or like 30 out of 30 or something like that. So each of the levels rank up in tens, and each 10 levels is 1 star. So the weakest characters are 1 out of 10, which you can level up to 10 out of 10, and that's a 1-star character. And you have 2-star. I don't know if I have any 2-stars right now. Oh, we do right here. 2-star characters with out of 20 and out of 30. And then once you get to the 40s, which is the 4-star characters, these are the ones where you start off in a lower level. For example, this is Mew in level 4, but I haven't leveled her or promoted her yet, or fed her, which I'll get into. And then once you level her all the way through, this has a skin on it, but she'll become a level 5 and then level 6. And then she'll get stronger as you level, and I'll get into that first. So the first thing you want to do is with your characters, you'll have a level 1 most likely when you start off, and most likely it's going to be Leon. And this is Leon right here in level 6, and I believe I have one in level 3. So Leon so if you notice on the top next to this sword in the middle of the screen, you'll notice that there is a scroll that's highlighted in bright yellow, and that means the legendary character. Legendary characters are characters anyone can get. They are basically the starters. You usually start off with Leon. It's been 5 years. I don't know if you can choose now out of, I believe it was 10 starters. I don't know if you could change them now, but most likely you start off with Leon, and through different quests you can obtain the other ones. Leon got buffed a while back because his attacks got really weak compared to a lot of the buffed new characters. So in trying to balance so far, he's pretty viable as an option up until probably mid-game, until you need to get some more OP characters for fighting other people PvP or taking down larger MVPs. So just going through the list here. So I'm gonna go over some of the characters, just the basics, and I'm gonna do that through the Library of Dimensions. Now, Library of Dimensions is basically the encyclopedia to the entire game. Not how to do things, but more as what certain things are. So Hero Tome is literally all the heroes in the entire game, and they're categorized. So these are the legendaries that I was talking about. There's Leon, and there's Rochefort, and then you level him up all the way to 6, and then Kriemhild, and then level them all to 6, and then Roland, all the way up to 6, Sabrina, Demona, D'Artagnan, Teresa, Dorothy, Kino, Maria, and Melissa. And each of them have their own special attacks. Obviously, these classes here, they have their own specialty. For example, like it says here, warriors specialize in close quarter combat, possesses powerful melee skills and strong physical attacks. So they are up close and they attack close, but some of the skills that they have can become ranged. But normally on each block, it's specific to melee. Paladins are basically your tanks. They may or may not do a lot of damage because of their skill, but generally they don't on normal blocks. They're specialized in tanking for you, so you want them in the front to get all the hits while your attackers are on the back. Attackers like archers, who specialize in focusing attacks on enemies at the rear. So I personally never found that useful because you want to take on the people head on, because the people that are in front of you are usually the ones who are quick to attack and have a lot of damage. The ones in the back, they tend to, you could just take them out in order. So archers aren't necessarily the best attackers, but they can do a lot of damage starting from the back if you have a good tank. So you got to keep your characters alive. Hunters are a better option from ranged archers. They are ranged and they attack from the front. They are very strong compared to most archers. Again, depending on which ones. There are some that are buffed, there are some that are nerfed. It just depends. Wizards, next range one, mostly specific to magic attacks compared to most of the archers and gunslingers or hunters that specialize in physical attack. Again, in some characters, they do have wizards that do physical attack, archers and hunters that do magic attack. Depending on the character, it's not specialized and specific. Just know that each character has its own strength and weaknesses, and you need to find the perfect balance with other characters. Last but not least, there are priests, which sounds not very important because they heal, but they are the key along with tanks. I've noticed you have to be able, even if you can put a lot of damage out, that's fine, but if you can't sustain your characters, you're pretty much dead. So you have to keep your characters healed, and you have to have the tank to make sure that no one else gets hurt except for the tank. And your priest is basically just healing the tank, while your attacker is either a swordman who is up in front dealing damage, or one of the ranged in the back and just pushing out damage. So those are the main classes. I'm not going to go through every character now, but in another video I will. Again, there are legendaries on top, which we'll go over how to get to those at a different time. Then there are the normal heroes. You'll notice that, like Vivian, you'll see it says contract, and on the bottom left of her photo you'll see the contract scroll. Whereas Joan of Arc is also a level 4, but she does not. So there is a difference here. What it is contract is a contract only character. You can only obtain them by purchasing contracts with gems, and gems are basically the highest tier of currency in this game. And with Joan of Arc or Susano, they can be promoted from the 1-star to 2-star to 3-star. From 3-star, if you promote to level 4, it randomizes in the same class becoming one of these characters, specifically non-contract promotable only. So for the ones that you don't see a contract scroll for, you can promote level 3 characters into one of these level 4 characters at random. And so Sano, Joan of Arc, Monty over here, Kaori, which some of these are good early game, some of these fall out late game, but a couple of these characters who are promotable only are they can go through late game, but probably will fall off at the end. So it just kind of depends. But yeah, so there are those, and then these are the list of level 3 characters, level 2 characters. I'm missing one here. I don't have this one yet. This one's new. So every time you receive a character, you will receive one that looks like this. Now, notice on the left photo of Eternally Young Century, it's very blank. It says 2 stars, name, character. For this one, Nef Commando, because I've had him before, you'll see a max level badge on the top right of that same box. Now what that means is that in level 1, from its level 1 to 10, if you reach to level 10, you will get a max level badge. Now what that means, every time you completely upgrade and level up a character in that class, in specifically this character, you will receive 1 gem. So if I received Eternally Young Century, I will not see the blue badge on the top right until I level him to level 20, because he's level 2. Once that happens, I will receive 1 gem, and that's it. Once you get the badge, that gem's received, and that's it. You don't get another one. So you want to kind of play your cards right with gems, on how to purchase things like Secret Heroes. Secret Heroes are event only. You cannot receive these unless you are part of the event. And so, as you notice, there are a lot of gaps in the beginning when I missed a couple of these events. I can't remember where all of these are from, but these are just specifically to Warriors, and there are level 3 ones as well. In another video, I'll tell you how to get most of these. And then Supply Heroes. Supply Heroes, there are only Swordsman and Warrior Supply Heroes, and what they are is they supply champions, which I will go over next. So somewhere mid-game, I can't remember exactly where, but you will receive this champion button. And what it is you will have a support character. They don't have HP. They don't stay on the field for long. He just kind of comes on the field, attacks or defends real quick, and then leaves. It's kind of a assisted boost in the game. Not every raid, not Coliseum, not every level will allow you to use a champion, but most of the case they will. And in order to level them, as you see, these are all blue, which is maxed out, but I do have some that are not. Miners Tribes Confederation, I want to reinforce, and you will see that there are these supply characters that I can supply to champions, and at 500 points I can level that up, get to the next tier, and each tier will have a little story to kind of get you to know who the champion is a little better, and so on and so forth. And with this champion update that they had, this was kind of a way for you to not get like waste characters. So when you obtain characters that you've had before, for example, I have 2 Susanas here, one here and one here. So I don't want both. I want to get rid of one. So I don't care which one it is, but I have too many because I also have one that's completely leveled up right here with a skin. So instead of retiring them, which is something that you can do to receive honor, but honor is actually one of the, if you look on the top right, you'll see that little badge. That's what we call honor. And I'll get into the currency in a little bit, but in order to promote them, you will need honor. But most of the time, honor is not hard to get by. As you can see, I have 1 million honor. I rarely use it. So instead of retiring them by clicking the retire and clicking Susanna, I will only get 360, and that's not really worth it to me. So they implemented a champion character where I can take, I believe that was Eastern. So part of the Eastern Kingdom manager, you will see Susanna right there, and then I'll send him off. And he's going to go through the portal. He's gone. And whatever points he had on the bottom when I sent that over, it will be added to the score. And champion's highest level is 7. And if each level, they're either they're active, they're passive, or they're buff as 1, 2, and 3 get leveled in order. So normally when you first have the champion, you activate them. You will have the first skill activated. You can level these up as you level up their score. Currency. Top right, on the top, you can see some of the currency that we are using in this game today. One of them is honor, which I already went over. And the one that's blue in the middle, those are gems. Honestly, 97 is not a lot. But like I said, you can get them by a couple of ways. One, you are already, like I mentioned, you level up characters that you've just obtained the first time. You level all of them up. Great. You get gems. The second way that normally you farm gems is through the Colosseum. So the Colosseum is basically the PvP version, but it's a computerized PvP. They will take your kind of your playstyle a little bit, kind of take your stats, your like everyday playstyle, and computerize it. And then when you go into the Colosseum, you will find characters that have other people's characters and other people's teams, and you're fighting the computerized version of theirs. You still have to battle them yourself, because yours is not computerized. You're basically trying to win against everyone else. This team, I think I could take on. If you don't want to take on, you'll see on the right side, you'll see this little circle, this little reload button. You can use honor, one of the uses of honor, to change the opponent. Now, I think I will win this one, so I'm not going to do it, but you can select out of 2 to battle. So if you don't like your first option, you look at their team and you're like, I think I might lose against them. I'm going to try this one and try my luck on the next one. Then you can do that. Again, this is an example of when I've already gone to the master, but in the Colosseum, I'm going to go over that now. There is a ranking system, and in order to level up your rank in these categories, you'll need to keep battling. So generally when you don't do anything, you'll be in the bronze, and you can get 3 gems at the end of the week. And in Pacific Standard Time, that's basically Sunday at 4 p.m. or if daylight savings, then 5 p.m. I'm not sure where that translates to anywhere else, but that's where that is. If you battle all the way up to silver, you get 6. If you get to gold, you get 10. When you get to master, which I'm at now, it becomes percentage wise. So I'm within the 98%, which falls between 50 and 100. So I have 15 gems coming at the end of the week, unless my rank drops, which means, well, actually, it can't drop. Once you hit master, you can't go below. Just like if you hit gold, you can't go back to silver, you can't go back to bronze. Once you hit that level, the lowest you can go is 0 out of whatever the max is to get to the next level. However, when you're in the master, if you go up to 50%, you'll still get 15 gems. If you go up to 49%, you get 20. But if you start losing again, then your percentage goes down and you can get 15. So it's not an everyday thing. Like you can get gems every day. You have to keep your rank up and hold it there until the end of the week. And that's the other way you normally farm gems. Now the other currency is gold. In the beginning of this game, when I started playing, gold was hard to obtain, and every time you need to level or bury one of these characters, you need gold, and it was hard to obtain. For example, I have Arita here. I have breads that raise her level of being able to be promoted. So one is the level you see on the top right here. It says level 60. She's maxed out. That is her character level. Then you need to have a bread level. As you see here, it's 0 right now. So I'm gonna just throw on some breads here, level her up. Now at a level 6, you need to go through this plus levels 4 times, and each of them going higher. So level 1 is 100, level 2 is 700, level 3 is 2100, and so on and so forth. And I can't remember exactly what the numbers were, but that in order to promote this all the way to max, you need to keep feeding them bread. And once they max out, you'll see, like this character Thor, you'll see that their bread is maxed out. And maxing in every level of bread will increase their stats. Here at the right side, HP, attack power will increase in general. And then to boost it furthermore, you can also obtain berries, and you can feed them to increase more so. And because of tanks usually have more HP, resistance, and armor, and usually their attacks are lower, critical chances of accuracies, visions are kind of lower, depending on the character as well. So using all of those, you require gold. So feeding bread does not just require bread, you also have to obtain gold along with bread in order to grow them, as well as berries, same exact way. This is all just to try to max your characters. Now, when you bread, you'll notice that you'll see here I have a +2 on the right side of the level 60 bar gauge. That means I haven't leveled up all the way. I can bread more. Once you do max, it will say max. It will say the words max max. Then you'll notice that the characters are in different colors. So some maxes are orange, some maxes are blue, some are white, some are purple, and some are blue. So there's kind of a range of colors, and what that is specific to the berries. So if you never berried before, they're going to be blue. They're going to be white, I'm sorry. So if you look at these berries are clear. I haven't any berries with this character, who is also a secret character, by the way, from the event. This character is from ReZero, the anime. I actually really like that anime. But anyway, so because I haven't buried all in white, I buried a couple of times on this character, but not fully yet. So if you look at the gauge for, I've maxed the attack power, maxed the resistance, nothing else. So it's kind of a light blue, if you notice, the light blue. And then as you keep giving more berries, the color gets darker. So for example, this one is a darker blue, and then it becomes kind of a purple, and then finally when it maxes out, it becomes orange. And that's when you know when it's an orange max, you've bred completely and you've buried completely. And so that's the technically the highest you can go on bread and berries, specifically those consumables. Recent updates, level 60 is not the highest level anymore. As you notice in my top characters, they are back down to a gauge of 25. Now, this is, I don't know why specifically they did this, but I don't know why they didn't just go from 60 to 85. I'm pretty sure they're heading to 100 because the last update was 20, up to 20, and then after 20 they added another 5. So, how to get there? You have these characters, you've maxed them out, but you can also obtain books or pages. So there are two types of things. Before it was just books, now it's pages as well. So pages are up to level 5. So if I had a character that was never leveled and is maxed, has to be maxed, I can use a page, a couple pages here, to raise above 60 to level 5. Once I use the pages, I can use level 2 pages to get to level 10. Or if I don't have any of those, I could specifically use books specific to the class or the ancient books, which are for all classes. Then I can go above 5. If I don't have any pages, I could still use books. Like it's kind of a waste to do that, but it works. I'm not gonna do that because it's hard to come by now. I kind of wish I didn't use all my books previously, because now that the pages are so, it's kind of simple to get. The books become more rare, and I just didn't want to use all of them previously, but I did. So next currency is going to be a couple of things here in the, so there's two sections. There's the town, which is basically where you buy, where you obtain stuff. Oh, actually, one thing, gems. Gems you can use for getting characters, and usually it's in this event contract area. So there's normally these two tabs, which is where you get your heroes. You can get a special contract, which special contract is tied to the left side here where it says we're really the best. There's an event for 3 days. It says on the bottom 3D, which is 3 days. You get a higher chance of getting these 4 characters specifically. The reason why they're doing this is because Shub here and Simhakyu, these are 2 brand new characters that just came out today after the update. So if you want them, you can use a special contract here for 6 gems for a chance to get one of the 4, or none at all. You might get okay, there's been a glitch where I can't, the X doesn't do anything out of the contract right now. They need to fix that. But if you don't get one of these 4 characters, you will end up getting a level 1 to level 3 character instead. Now, most people want to go for the 10x special contract because you're guaranteed at least 1 contract hero. Either one of these 4 or a different contract hero. So it's not specific to these 4. It's just gambling. You're trying to get good characters to get farther in the game to PvP. It's just a gamble. Now, if you don't specifically want these 4, or you don't want the higher chance to get these 4, you can use just normal premium contracts. Again, premium contracts are the ones where you can get premium contracted heroes, the contract only heroes. Those are the ones with the golden scroll under their picture in the square. These are the ones that you can get. You can also get them through the special contracts, but if you don't want any of the 4 characters specifically here, you just want to randomize it, you want to use the premium contract. And if you, for some reason, have all the characters except for 1 or 2, you can specialize in the type of contract you want to use in order to obtain specifically that classed contract. Like, for example, you have everyone except for 1 wizard. You can just focus the wizard contract over and over again. Normally, so these are 7 for the singles, 6 for the singles for the premium and special. For these specialized ones, once you've used one at 7 gems, the next one will be 6, and it will be 6 until you stop using it again and again and again. If you exit out of that and go back, it'll be 7 again. So you want to kind of plan out your gems because they're hard to come by. Premium contracts and the special contracts, they are 6 and then 5 after. So technically you do get a deal with the 10 X special contracts or the premium contracts, because 1, you're guaranteed a special contract regardless, unlike the one-off contracts where you can literally do it 10 times and get all level 3 characters or level 1 characters. Who knows? It's randomized, and honestly, it is one of the most frustrating things about this game, trying to get characters. So try to save up gems enough for a 10 pull and not a single pull. Alright, so back in the adventure area, you have 3 more currencies. One is, you see this little green ticket. That's specifically for the Coliseum that we were looking at earlier. Again, Coliseum is PvP. You're going to try to farm here. Every time you use 1 ticket, though, there's a time limit. On the top right, you'll see the time limit is 45 minutes remaining for me, but it does last 1 hour. So you have 1 hour to win 5 times in the Coliseum with this 1 ticket. If you win 5 times, then you complete this ticket. You move on to the next one. If you lose at any point, the ticket is done. You go back a rank in your rewards, and you drop off from that 1 ticket. So again, these are limited. They take a long time to refresh. I believe it's 1 hour and 30 minutes for 1 ticket to refresh. So I will try to use this and show you guys some things before the end of this video, because I don't want to lose this ticket. The next one is keys. You notice that the little silver keys, it's 5 out of 15 because I was using it earlier. These are specific to dungeons. Now, when I was talking about legendary characters, for example, Maria here or Dorothy, you can only obtain these characters here in the dungeon. Now, what you have to do is you got to go through all of these levels, every one of these levels, until you get to the last one. Now, the way that this works can be frustrating as well. And I will show you an example later. But you have to fill up a gauge, a chance to fill up the gauge, to have either Maria or Dorothy like you more until you get to the, I think it was the 100 level, fill the gauge, then you get the character. It does take a while. It takes a lot of grinding and a lot of key saving, but most of the time when you start this game, you get a bunch of keys, so you just kind of grind it out. And this one is for Teresa and Kano. So same thing, with long list of you got to go through, just gotta go through it. This one, the Ancient Training Grounds, is actually open all the time. This is where you get honor. This is actually very interesting because previous to this, it was max 5 keys and you only get 600 honor. This is a much better deal. It is 10 to get 3,000, but even if you use 5 like before, it was only, you get 1,500, so you get more than double of what you used to get for honor. So honor is not going to be a problem moving forward. Here is a witch hunt. I will have another video on the witch hunt to show you how it works. Basically, how this one works is you got to get some quick characters that can dash forward. You need 2 types of attacks. You need physical and you need magic. There are specific pumpkins that are designed to stop you from moving. And there's a witch above you who is basically racing you, who has no impedes. She goes really slow, but if you get the wrong blocks out at the wrong time, you might not get past certain pumpkins, which will hold you back. Now, there are ways around this. There's also a thing with the goddess, which I will get into right after this. Goddesses are basically another boost, kind of like a champion. Every time you use the goddess skill in the witch hunt or race, you will get boosted forward a little bit. But if you haven't cleared the pumpkin, you will stop at that pumpkin. So I will get into that later. There is a calendar for this, specific to all of where each of these are. As you notice, for the legendaries, I've only mentioned Maria, Kano, Teresa, and Dorothy. There is still Rochefort, there's Ronald, there's a bunch of other ones. And you have to wait until a specific day of the week in order for them to happen. So, for example, you see on Friday, the first block, Gravity Labyrinth. That is where you get, I believe it's Sigruna and Kriemhild. And then the one below it, Road to Ruin, that's where you get Teresa and Demona. And that's where they're there. Sunday is Goblin's Secret Storage, which is a chance to get some gold. It's pretty easy to defeat. You get the max level is level is 5 keys, and you get 5,000 gold completion. But I think depending on how quickly you finish, you have a chance to get higher gold on top of the 5,000. I think max I've got 17,000 gold on top of the 5,000, so which made around 23,000 gold with one 10 key pull, which is the last round. And also there's the time acceleration magic one, which gives you, as you can see there on the bottom, it's dust and iron, which I will go over. On the bottom here, you also see 2 more chili bread storage. If you need more bread, you will be up against Chocolat, who is a kind of an event character as well, but you've noticed that she also makes your bread, and I'll go over that in a bit. But there's a pattern to go over her, and I'll have that in a separate video. So just bakery, last chocolate on the left. There's different ovens here. When you're low beginning, you'll probably start off with a small oven. It only takes is that 1 hour? Yeah, 1 hour to make 2 breads for you. And it's either 1 or 2 actually. And as you level up, more bread ovens will open, and I'm at the last one, which gives you level 5 or level 4, or sometimes level 3, but never level 6. The only way to get level 6 is using Mysterious Oven, which is the way that Crusaders Quest implements ads, which is quite genius. In fact, I really don't like playing games that has ads pop up in the most obvious places. Kind of takes the immersion away, and I don't want to pay extra to try to get immersed. I might as well just go out and buy an actual game. With Crusaders Quest, you can stay immersive, but at the same time, you can use ads to gain items, and I think that's the best way to do ads. I mean, I use their ads all the time. They're generating revenue, and I'm getting items that I want. Or it's randomized again. If you look at it, it says level 3 to level 6 by chance, but every 5 ads, on the 5th ad and on the 10th ad, you'll have a chance to, it's a level 5 or level 6 for sure. So that kind of ties into the last contract that we saw, Promote Hero Contract. You can only gain promotable characters or level 3, level 2, level 1 characters with an ad. You only have 10, just like the bread. You're not, no, this one does not have a guarantee. If you do all 10, you might get all level 1s. Who knows? Right. So that's kind of the gist of the game. You do have your mailbox. You have a list of friends that you can add. With these list of people, every day, when the game resets, you have a chance to send honor and receive honor. And when you receive honor, it's 1, or I think it was 3. Oh no, I'm sorry, it's 5 per friend. When you give honor, you receive 1 meat. Now, that is the last currency that I was going to talk about up here in the top right. That is meats. I have a lot. In order for you to do any quest, normal quest, you will need meat, and you will show you how much meat you will need. Oh my god. How much meats you will need during every quest. And for the higher level ones, I think the max is just 30. For the last couple ones, it's all been 30. But I have no complaints because I don't want to start paying 50 or 60 per level. So so far, it is easy to keep meats around, especially when you have a full friends list. You get basically 50 every day guaranteed if you have 50 friends. That is the max. And then on top of that, you get some honor for sending honors as well. Now, the other thing is, as you notice here, there's a button called main. So my main is Echidna. I have no idea how to say her name, but she's kind of OP. I have a skin on her. And the thing is, when there's your main, if you look on the top left, you'll notice that my main is wrapped up in that little bubble. And what that does is when you're friends with other people, here, let me show you an example. So let's say I want to attack here, and instead of using my character, I can use my friend's character. So out of the 50 people here, I could use their mains to help me get by a lot easier, especially if they're, high level. You notice a bunch of Izunas here in blue hair Izunas. She is one of the more OP characters. You also see Echidna here. But yeah, there you get a boosted experience as well as experience for each of the characters when you use a mercenary. But again, you only have 2 of them that you can level because you're sacrificing 1 character block for someone else's character. Yeah, so that is kind of a high level basis of the game. The only thing left here is to go over the gameplay, which I will do really quick. I'm just gonna go here, and I'm gonna actually drop the levels down just to show you how the gameplay works. I'll go for some level 5. Actually, I'm gonna go with characters that oh my god. Yeah. And I'm just gonna use one of the better priests, just keep everyone alive. I'm going to use, oh, you know what? No. Yep. Okay. That's my team. There are 2 event characters in here, but I'm just trying to show you what it is. Oh, one thing before I get into that, I forgot I needed to go over the goddesses. So there is a goddess here. There are a total of 8 right now. You start off with Sarah, and then you get Pristina, and then I believe it was Anut, Aubrey, Bella, and then it was Kronos, Dione, and Sonos. So each of them have their own specialty. Sarah, complete immunity to damage for 1 second, so it's very important to time when you use her, and then 50% on for the second. It depending on your timing, it's everything with Sarah. You can get kind of far with her, and she's multi-purpose. She could be used in quests, in raids, in the Coliseum, and pretty much anywhere, and she's quite useful. Pristina, she kind of grasps people, the enemies in place. That helps on certain characters, or just in general, if you don't want them to move and come at you while attacking. And also, every time you are attacked, you are healed instead, or at a percentage. And so, if you're attacked a lot, you still might die, but generally, every time you get attacked, you get healed instead. Very, very useful. A newt, if you are, if your enemies have buffs. For example, you have a character. Your enemy has a character that puts a shield on the entire team. If you use a newt, it just takes off the shield. Or if they have a buff where it raises their attack, all of those buffs gone. It also reduces the attack power of the enemy. So it's kind of making your enemies vulnerable, which is quite useful in the Coliseum. But it does only remove buffs on that 1 second. I've noticed some characters buff instantly when they have a block, and it's you can't level a newt fast enough with the blocks that you have, which I'll go over. So sometimes useful depending on your timing. Timing, everything about timing. Aubrey, if someone has a debuff on your team, for example, someone has a character that roots you to the ground. Click Aubrey, cleanses you, and then you're good to go. And it actually lasts 3 seconds. So this is anytime they're trying to debuff you within those 3 seconds, nothing will happen. Bella actually is one of the stronger goddesses when it comes to attacking, instead of like Pristina or Sarah, who's more about defense. So she basically boosts your attack by 50% on neutral damage, which means armor and resistance have no play in defending your characters, or their characters, I'm sorry. So neutral damage is quite important. So to try to get damage out as quickly as possible, use Bella. Kronos, your enemy's motion is decreased, and the last block that each of the characters have used will each activate again, which is good for if you have characters that will initiate a 3 block, which is a stronger block than a 2 block or a 1 block. So you want to use Kronos for that. I don't really use her that much though. I don't think I've ever really used Dione except for finishing quests. She is basically knocking people up, gives them a little damage, and then makes your enemies kind of drop their accuracy for a little bit. That's kind of like their defense. So I don't really use her though, because honestly, it's not enough to protect most characters. So I just kind of skip that. Silenus, it's basically like stat increase for all of your characters for 4 seconds, which is great for boosting an attack. But on the flip side, because Silenus is kind of like a light and dark goddess, your evasion will be decreased, which means even if your evasion is skipping attacks, it won't happen anymore, and so you'll get hit by everything. which is kind of dangerous to use. So you gotta really time your bursts with slowness here. So with that being said, let's go ahead. I'm gonna do this one instead. This last little longer. Oh, pop quiz. So a pop quiz once in a while shows up. Doesn't matter if it's questing, doesn't matter if it's the Coliseum, doesn't matter if it's the dungeon or raid, or it doesn't matter. Every once in a while, a pop-up quiz will happen. I think this is their way of kind of making sure no one's using automatic programs. Because if you click the wrong one, you will be locked out for first 1 minute, then 5 minutes, then 20 minutes, and then an hour. So nothing on the game will work in that time if you mess up that many times. And then it'll be I believe it's an hour every time after. If you keep getting it wrong. Now this is pretty simple though. If you're playing, I'll look at the scene again. In this row, which place did this character come in? I'll see that again. The last place, so order number 4. Get a little prize. Great, you're not a robot. It's kind of their captcha. So I am using Kronos. I am using specifically a Neth champion. So this is basically how the game is played. You will have a row of blocks at the bottom, and you see one block is a 1 chain, 2 blocks is a 2 chain, 3 blocks is a 3 chain. Now specifically, some characters are stronger at 3 blocks. These characters are actually really strong with 3 blocks, so they kind of run through. Now this is a champion. Once you tap him, champion will show up, deal a bunch of damage, boom, and then he'll disappear. And then the goddess Thanos activated the last block. Keep him moving. And I get my healers to keep going. Okay, there. And that's 1 down. So I used, I believe it was 13 meats for this one, and my rewards is 1 weapon, level 2 weapon, some gold, 1 level 3 bread, and 1 map piece. So I'm gonna go over gear, which is gonna be the weapon, and it's gonna be the map piece after that. So gear, as you can see, gear right here. This is all the weapons you have. When you start off, you'll get weapons like this, Roman bow, and then you'll have an enhanced bow. Level 2, you only have 1 slot open to upgrade. Level 4 is 2. Level 5 is 3. Level 6 is 3. What it is you need, again, gold. If you want to upgrade this, it's 200 for level 2. Upgrade for specifically to attack, because this had attack on it. So in that category, it was going to be an attack upgrade. Right now, it's critical damage upgrade of 27%. So when it does critical damage, the attack of 26 plus whatever your character's attack is will be increased by 27 when a critical damage attack happens. You can upgrade it again and again. You can have a great success either with Bridget points or gems. I didn't go over Bridget points yet. That's more rare. Bridget points are more rare than gems, but you can use that to get a great success, which is basically max of the tier that you're at. So level 5 is a level 1, level 5, level 10, level 20, level, so on and so forth. You want to get the attack as high as possible, but with a level 2 weapon, you will only get to max level 10. So the max you can get is an armor penetration, critical damage, hero power of 70, 30, 100. and that's not a lot. So you don't really want to waste those on lower tier weapons. What you do want to use them on are something called soulbound weapons. So each character has their own specific weapon that is tied to their character. For example, Leon. I don't remember what the level 4 version of his weapon was called, but you can use the Library of Dimensions. So, the level 4 character of Leon's soulbound weapon is called the Nameless Sword. And once you have it and you equip it to a level 4 or higher Leon character, you will have an extra ability upon activating his passive. Ultimate Holy Sword deals 200% more damage. So, let's look into characters. Leon. His attack, or actually let's go to his level 4. I'm just going to use the Library of Dimensions version. Oop. Alright, level 1. He summons a Holy Sword that deals physical damage equal to 80, 180, and 340% of his attack power, depending on the chain length. So again, like the chains that we saw earlier, 1 block, 2 block, 3 block. 1 block being 80 attack, or 80% attack, 2 block 180, and 3 block 340. So higher blocks is where you want to be. So on top of his 23 attack, which he has no weapon if he had one, which will add on to the attack, all of that will be the percentage of damage he actually puts out onto the enemies minus the defense that they have. And that's how the math is played. Fun. So as you level up, you'll notice that the character's stats will also increase. And then when you get to level 4, you'll notice that their skill actually has a passive skill or an active skill, depending on the character. Most likely they're passive. And so you see here, this one is every 3 blocks he uses, Leon uses Ultimate Holy Sword to deal physical damage equal to 380% of his attack power. And then it ignores all the enemy armor by 50% of his own. So he can deal a lot of boosted damage because he's a physical attacker, because you notice that his attacks are in red and it says physical damage. Dropping armor is most important for Leon. And then if he levels up again, that didn't change. But if you level to level 3, on top of that passive, it ignores 100% of Leon's own armor. So he's taking down more armor with his attack. So on top of that, once you get the soulbound weapon at max, so Leon's critical chance increases by 25% and his maximum HP by 10% for 5 seconds. That's when he uses the what is it called? The Ultimate Holy Sword. So Call of the Holy Sword is by the blocks. His passive to use a larger sword, the Ultimate Holy Sword, it will increase his critical chance and his maximum HP for 5 seconds once he uses those 3 blocks. With every 3 blocks he uses, he activates Legendary Holy Sword to deal physical damage equal to 600% of his attack power and 15% of his maximum HP. So on top of that, if you give him more HP, he will do more damage. So it scales. And it ignores all enemy armor by 200 of his own armor. So if you max his armor, he will do more damage because he will be ignoring more of the enemy's armor as well. If Legendary Holy Sword accurately hits the enemy, Leon activate the passive one more time. So that is the newest update to Leon, which made him strong enough to become more mid-game instead of dropping off early game, which is he throws, instead of just one sword to do all this damage, he will throw a second. So, and that's concurrently. there's no gap between it. Just 1, 2, boom. So, looking at Leon, why don't we try him out? So I'm going to switch out him with Leon, and as you notice, there's a leader button. If my leader button is on May, who it is now, more of her blocks will come out, but I'm going to change my leader to Leon. And instead of using May, I'm going to use a ranged character. Because I want Leon to shine, I'm going to use a lower level character. I want to see how much damage he actually does. And I want to use Pristina to make sure everyone's healed correct. Okay? Alright. So, the thing about Leon is that you don't need to use 3 blocks at the same time, like most characters. Most characters you gotta kind of play around, like for example taking forever for her. So there you go, 3 block, there you go. Now I shoot a 3 block, and that's her damage. Leon, on the other hand, as long as it adds up to 3 and it keeps adding